It's cool. I'm very happy with that. I'm proud of these Brazilian young kids.
Yeah, yeah, good for
Brazilian
them.
kids has a good future. I
Yeah.
believe in them.
Got my medicine, elixir potion, another round. Rinse, repeat.
Welcome everyone to one more interview, and today I could chat with Armin Kamal from the Canadian thrash metal band Infrared. Armin is the vocalist and guitarist of Infrared from Ottawa, capital of Canada. The band was created in 1985, and the name came up when the guitarist Kirk Gidley was reading through some Megadeth lyrics from the album Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, and saw the word Infrared. Despite they stay active just for 3 or 4 years, they left a good impression with the demo or IP, Recognition and Power. If you got interested in check out these early days of Infrared, I recommend the video Top Score in between. They returned in 2014 with almost the same original lineup, having Mike Forbes on bass as the new member and still keeping Armin, Kirk Gidley and Alan Groove. Along these last 10 years, Infrared released 4 albums and 2 EPs. No Peace, Savers, Back to the Warhouse, From the Black Swamp, The Metal Inquisition and Manifestation. So let's check what Armin has to say about their newest album Manifestation, released in September of 2024.
Okay, cool. Armin, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming. It's a pleasure to receive you here. We are friends for a long time, since the first time I heard Infrared. And it's a pleasure, it's an honor to have you here with me today.
Yeah, no, well, thank you for having me, Victor. It's always fun to talk to you, and the band and I obviously appreciate your support more than you can know, and the stories that you share with us about your air traffic controlling and getting pumped up listening to Infrared and stuff like that. So it puts a smile on our face.
Yes, yeah. I remember that once when I had to work with air traffic control. Our workmate and I, we are very nervous because it was a very weird kind of air traffic control at that time. And you just released from the Black Swan at that time. And we heard all the day long to try to relax a bit before we start working with that. It was an amazing, it's a great memory that I have.
Yeah, yeah. Most people will use classical music to relax, but metalheads
Yeah.
we use metal to relax. Yeah, it's weird, but it's the way we do it.
It's good to run it too. When I'm running, and sometimes I'm losing my breath, and I'm thinking about to quit, about to run, and then suddenly a kind of music starts to play in my ears. It brings in an extra energy. It's amazing the power of music. It's incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, but let's talk about the newest album, Manifestation, which was released in September of last year. And this album is very amazing because it talks about a few issues that we're living nowadays. The kind of issues are related to AI and social medias. And my first question is: Manifestation goes deep on AI spreading around the world. You even use it to create your album cover art using AI. I saw that AI is even able to create entire songs, and you put the script, and the AI gives you a complete song with drums, guitars, and everything based on the script you put there. It's great, but I can imagine the problems related to copyrights. And my first question is, how do you see it for the future of the music?
Uh, well, I mean, for me, AI, again, we have to understand that it's in its infancy, and AI is basically a very sophisticated plagiarizing tool. So it's not going to create something new. At least I don't see it at this point. You can say, go create me a type of song in this style with lyrics in this style, and it will go out and figure out those two styles and merge them together. We see this like with mashups all the time now. You'll take an Iron Maiden album and they'll say, do it in the style of the 60s. And, it does a fantastic job. And the voices it uses, like the emulation it's incredible. I see it more as a novelty and for fun, but to create something new, like some new art form, as opposed to a mashup of things that already exist and you're just blending them together. I still think that that's best to come from humans. Like, I don't see AI doing that yet, or creating a new art form that people will gravitate towards. Right. So we had the metal movement, the grunge movement, the punk movement. I'm not sure if AI would be capable yet of doing something like that would, capture people's imagination.
I confess that I get a bit worried when I saw that, because I don't know. I'm not a musician. I don't know how is a brain of a musician, and you are trying to compose a song. But with this, let me say, with this tool of AI, I believe that a musician it's using it as a shortcut to compose songs. Do you
Yeah.
think that it could be bad for? I know that a musician evolves himself as a musician while composing, while playing, and do you think it could be bad for a musician?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, if people use it as that type of tool to compose songs, right? Like, say, write me something in this style. How can you take pride in it? It didn't come from you. So there's that aspect. It doesn't mean you can't create something cool with it. Like, like DJs take other people's music and samples and they put it together, and it brings people joy. So I'm not saying that AI can't be used for these things, but from an artist standpoint, I can't personally see taking any pride or joy in. Yeah. So again, like, I know people will write lyrics with it. They'll say, like, write me lyrics in the metal style. My drummer did that. His friend did something for like a mechanic shop, and write me a metal song in the style of for a mechanic shop. And I read it, and it was good. But again, I wouldn't take any pride in it. And then sometimes you can say, well, write me a song in the key of G, and maybe it's a good starting point. So the way I could maybe give an example or relate it to is, like, if you're like a programmer, for example, and you can go to ChatGPT and say, I want a block of code that does this, and it'll speed up the work. So they have the overall vision of what they want to do, but the minute details and the stuff that takes a really long time, is time consuming, can be done in seconds, because you're not asking it to do anything new. You're just asking it to get the work done faster. Right. But again, for me, in the music standpoint, like, if I'm not playing it, I'm not interested. Like, but again, it's a new world. I'm not judging. If people do it, like, that's fine. It's just, I don't see myself doing it.
If it's similar when internet appeared, we have to get used to that. We have to discover how to manage all these new things, and of course we have to use this in favor of us.
Yeah, for sure. Like, if it helps you, if it's, again, there's pros and cons to everything. And, like, again, with social media these days, it's like, now you have to deal with addiction. Like, it's just a new form of addiction. So with each new technology comes these great things that you can do with it. There's a lot of pros, but you also have to look at the cons. And then the pendulum swings, right? Like, it gets really bad, and then people realize it. It's like with smoking or whatever it is, or alcohol. And it's just like, okay, too much is bad. You have to find the happy median, everything in moderation, and then it can be used for good purposes.
We will soon talk about this connection you made about drugs.
Yeah.
It's one of the questions. But before I ask it, I have a friend here in Brazil called William Ribas. We were talking a few weeks ago. How interesting is the internet as when it's used as a way to connect the band to the fans. But at the same time, it looks like the fans are not more interested to go to the concert. I don't know. I don't know why. It looks like the fans prefer to stay at home watching videos on YouTube. William asks you, Armin, or the band, how do you use your social medias to stay connected with your friends?
It's a good question. It's interesting because we're an older band, so some would consider us dinosaurs. But
You are experienced band.
yeah, well, so we still cling a little bit to the old school. We like to do full albums, which we might be changing now a little bit. But social media for us it's just a tool to advertise when we're going to play a show or if we're going to release music. Um, we don't get involved in. I, I find it a little bit soul sucking that that people now think you have to show your everyday life and you have to promote your music in 20 different ways using content on social media, just to get your song in people's ears. Um, to me, that's not what musicians are about, right? I mean, I know that that's the new school of thought, and that's the way people are getting their music out there these days, or getting, their music in TikTok videos or reels or whatever it is. And I'm not against any of that. Um, but I I'm not a social content creator. I'm a musician, and we create music. And yes, we'll do videos, right? We will have a vision for videos, and that is technically content, but that's a bigger package deal. That's not a 30-second or a 10-second clip for the short attention spans these days. And so we do see it now that we create our videos, and because they're like 3 to 4 or 5 minutes long, engagement, like you don't get as much engagement in these videos because, again, people's attention spans are much shorter. They want to see everything in these short chunks. And do we want to adjust and move in that direction? Probably not. We'll probably focus more on releasing music and promoting it, through PR companies to say, hey, we've released some music. And will we stop doing videos? Probably not as well. But like, I don't know if like you've seen our videos for manifestation. We do it all ourselves now. Like, we don't spend the money on it, because even when you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a video, the amount of views you get is the same. So why would you spend the money if you can do it yourself and you get the same amount of views on your videos? So it's a different world, we're just going to keep making music because we enjoy it, and whoever comes along for the ride is good.
I see social media as a huge black hole. Once you enter there, there's a risk you lost yourself there. And I'm trying to discover something new about social medias. In Brazil, you don't use Facebook a lot
Mhm.
anymore. You use a lot of Instagram, but it's this kind of content, 30 seconds, and most of the people use Instagram more to show a fake life. It's not a real life. You only put there the happy moments of your day, but sometimes you have 4 or 5 days of a terrible day, and you
Mhm.
have sometimes 1 minute of something that looks beautiful, and you put there. It's a very virtual and fake world. And my next question is related to what we are talking about now. It's
Mm.
about the song Demon's Blood, which is about addiction. But considering the concept around the AI and this digital world that we mentioned, we can
Mm.
say that social media and smartphones are become the new drugs.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of the young generation, especially the young kids who are growing up among this digital era?
Well, it's like I said, I think it's like a pendulum, just like anything else. So the new technology comes in, social media is relatively young. I mean, it's been around obviously for a while. I think 2007 was the big sort of breakout for Facebook, and then all the other platforms followed. Obviously, YouTube was there before, but it was considered more of like an entertainment consumption, not so much social media heavy. Um, and so you have this time frame of where people are again getting consumed, and the pendulum starts to swing really far into this addiction where people can't put their phones down. I mean, I see it in my personal life, with people that I know. Every free second somebody has, you pick up your phone and you start doom scrolling. And so I think I'm not so worried about the younger generation, because just like everything in life, it will eventually self-correct because people will realize we've lost social connections. I'm missing something in my life. And then they'll search out, they'll either, they'll travel to Thailand to find themselves, or they will look to religion, or they will look to metal music or classical music or whatever it is, but they will look to something to find more meaning in their life. And they'll realize very quickly that the meaning is the social connection that they have with other people. And you can't really do that as effectively as you can when you're in person and you put your phone down or you put it away and you're just sitting and you're looking at somebody and you're having a conversation with them and you're sharing parts of your life and they're doing the same for you. So, and I think it's already happening. Like I see it, with my kids, with I used to coach in like a water polo team, and well-behaved kids, they get it. I'm not worried about it. Like some people go, oh, this generation. I'm like, no, they'll be hardworking, they'll be good, upstanding citizens. No generation is better than the one before. It's just different and different technologies that you deal with.
I hope it really happens, mate, because I'm very worried with that. The things that I'm seeing the kids very lost nowadays,
Yeah.
without knowing how to handle simple things in your life. That when I was at his age or then their ages,
Mm-hmm.
I could do it by myself easily. But as you mentioned, I believe everything has a good path to find after
Yeah.
some time.
Well, it was my grandmother who said, whatever you can't teach them as a parent, life will teach them. So those things that you mentioned of kids. So I see both sides. Like I have seen both sides. I've seen the kids that are very self-sufficient. They're very driven. They're very personable, hardworking. And then I've also seen the other ones where, they're a little bit entitled. They don't, they can't fix their own things. They don't know how to cook a dinner, those types of things. But eventually they're going to have to figure it out. And that's why I don't worry about it, right? Because I'm not doing it for them. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about my own kids personally. I just mean just in general. Like I'm not going to run around, and I think good parents wouldn't do that for their kids either. It's just like you have to learn. And eventually it'll work out and your parents aren't going to be there forever either. So
It's good to see that you really see the bright side from all of it.
yeah, I just don't get too bent out of shape about it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like I have seen both sides of the coin, and everything does balance out in the end. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to get up, you're going to have to work, you're going to have to make money in order to have house, food, all that kind of stuff. And you can't do that while you're doom scrolling on your phone. So eventually you have to figure it out.
They push and they claw. They work hard to get stuck in your craw. They deny.
Not another song from Manifestation.
Mm.
The Precious Syndrome is about not feeling connected to society. It's
Mhm.
funny because last year when I was reviewing the album,
Yep.
I was about to make 40 years old, and I was struggling with something like, I don't know, I call it as a midlife crisis, but I don't know if it was a really midlife crisis.
You're not
But
midlife yet.
I don't know. But in fact, I wasn't feeling connected to anything, to anybody. I looked to young people, and I didn't want to stay with young people. But when I looked to people older than me, I didn't want to stay with them. I was feeling a bit lost.
Mhm.
Somehow, as you said, somehow I had to figure out, and I start to look for the bright side from the people I love, the people I had at my side. And it helped me a lot to forget about it, and I'm good nowadays.
Mhm.
But I was curious. Have you ever suffered with something like that, and how have you managed to figure out a way to forget about this kind of issues and midlife crisis? I don't know the name of it.
Well, so I don't think I've ever really gone through it, but I mean, again, some people might say, well, here you are, you're 56 years old, and you're you're slinging on a flying V and headbanging and screaming into an audience and stuff like that. And they may say, well, that's your midlife crisis, but I'm like, I've been doing that forever. So that's just me being me. But yeah, I don't think I've never been down that path where I needed to buy like a sports car or do something outrageous. It's just, I think I've always done the things that I want to do in life. So I didn't really get the crisis. As far as what you're talking about too, with not knowing who to connect with, that's what I love though, is like, I love to connect with older people, younger people, and people my age, because there's something to be learned from all of it, right? You get the wisdom and the life experience from people who came before you. You get your friend or your age group that is going through the same things that you're going through, that you support each other. And of course the youth, like what's coming up in the world, what's hip, what are your challenges, and maybe you can help them and give them some guidance and stuff like that. So you're, like the older people do for me, maybe I can do that for the younger people as well, right? And sometimes they teach me stuff that helps me. So to me, it's just like, if you open up your mind, open up your heart, and connect. To me, it's all about relationships and having good relationships and being tolerant and listening, right? And especially in this world where we're dealing with so much division.
Exactly.
People are just, they play for a team. It's like sports teams now, like with politics, with religion. It doesn't matter what it is, but my side is the right side and the other side is the bad side. And it's, if you strip all that away, it's just human beings trying to make a living. And we have way more in common. And I know this is a very cliche thing to say, but it's true. We have way more in common than we have that's in opposition. And, letting people divide us, letting a small group of people divide us, is only benefiting that small group of people, and it's not helping the masses, the mass population. So, that's all I have to say about that.
It's good you are really looking for the bright side of all these issues we are living.
I
It's
try
good.
to, well, but the metal music lets me get all the negative stuff out, right? So I don't this is my therapy, so I don't have to deal with it. I'll be honest with you, like in the past few months, there's been some anxiety with the new administration in the States attacking my country, Canada. So, and it's, normally you wouldn't worry about it too much, but it's just nonstop. And it's, at some point you have to take these things seriously. But then you kind of go, well, you know what? We're strong people. We'll manage whatever they throw at us. Just like I do in my personal life. It's like, whatever gets thrown at me, I'll manage. And I think our country is like that too. So then you calm down a bit and deal with it when it really is a major problem,
I completely understand you, mate, because we live. Of course, it's a different kind of issue that related to politics, but
Yeah.
our country is a mess for decades. It never changed, and somehow we are knowing how to deal with. It's funny because nowadays I'm very calm about everything that's going around the world.
That's
I
good.
believe if it was happening, I don't know, 5 years ago. One example, when COVID-19 struck out the entire world, I
Yeah.
was very nervous. I almost lost my wife, but after that, I'm very calm. It's okay, that things happen. Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
Yeah. Well, but I
I
mean, your experience of that, almost losing your wife puts everything into perspective, right? Why would you worry about things that you can't control? Why would you
Small
worry about
issues.
small things that don't matter, right? It's, yeah.
The most important thing I learned when my wife got sick is how we don't have control of our lives. We
Hmm.
lose the control of our lives in a matter of one
Second.
or 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I remember in a matter of 4 days, my wife was good, and then she was almost without breathing, like a zombie.
Hmm.
And she reacted. She's good. She's perfectly healthy now.
Yeah.
And you just
Thank
have
God.
to live, try to avoid the anxiety, and keep going.
Yeah.
for this, for at least for me, I try to do things different from our job, things different from what I do every day. For example, I enjoy to brew beer, I enjoy to run, I enjoy to do different things
Yeah.
that calm my mind. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know how to play guitar, unfortunately, but maybe someday I can learn how to play.
You can learn for sure. Anybody can learn.
Well, keep going here. Still talking about the same song, Person Syndrome. Uh,
Mhm.
there is a part, and you repeat, the pressure is building. And the first time that I heard, the first thing I understood from the lyrics was the depression is building,
Mhm.
which could be associated with what you wanted to tell us on the lyrics. Was it on purpose or was just a coincidence?
Not so much on purpose, but I mean, obviously, the song is based about a depressed person, right? So when people, so I don't know if the listeners know, but Pressure Syndrome is about was based on the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas back in the '90s, and so this is a guy who lost his family, like his wife is leaving him because he lost his job, and so the pressure of all these things happening, he can't see his daughter, they don't want him around, so and then society just starts to get on his nerves. He gets agitated, but obviously he's depressed. And when you're depressed and he's fearful about the world and fearful about losing everything, so this turns into the anxiety and then the pressure of all that, which then makes him snap and lash out at the world, right? So it wasn't on purpose because it does say the pressure is building, but yes, it certainly does involve depression as you picked out.
It came in naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's the result of a good frequency of album releases, which is my next question. You released 6 albums in less than 10 years, 4 full albums and 2 EPs, which is for me it's an amazing frequency of album releases. And how do you manage your regular lives with your bandmates to keep creating, releasing, and then promoting the album? How hard it was to manage the schedules of everyone involved with the band?
Well, I mean, like again, this is like our passion, our hobby, right? So everybody, well, not everybody, but most people, they have a working life, and then they like fishing, or they like to play hockey, or they like to collect stamps, whatever their passion is. And for us, it's writing music. So obviously, you can write music if you have like a 2-minute break and your guitar is sitting right there. You pick it up, and it's like, oh, there's an idea. You record it, you put it in the bank, you go back and listen to it, and you have another idea, you record that. Oh, these two ideas go together. Next thing you know, you have a song or the idea of a song. So finding time is like when you love something, finding time isn't hard. Um, for frequency, like we typically only get together once a week as a band to rehearse. Sometimes if we have like a show that's like a major show and we really want to tighten up, we might put in another practice. So we might do 2 a week. But generally speaking, we meet once a week. So it's a nice get together. You hang out with your friends, you make some music, you keep sharp, and you're always ready to go play a show. As far as the frequency of the albums is concerned, so I mean, obviously the first one was all the old music, so that was just stuff that was sitting there waiting to be recorded. All those years later, one of the EPs was also old songs that didn't make the first album, and then the other stuff is just like I said, we just have a lot of ideas, and like we still have a lot of ideas. Like I don't see a shortage, but how we put music out in the future, I don't know. We're undecided at this point. Will we go and wait until we collect 8 or 10 songs and do another full album, or will we go and maybe do like a couple of songs at a time and release those just to keep a flow of music coming from the band? So rather than waiting 2 years, maybe you'll get something every 6 months, and then after 2 years, it's enough for a full album. So like we'll build a collection of songs and then say, okay, well, we'll put it as an album. I don't know yet. Like we'll have to diplomatically, or not diplomatically, but like as a democracy in the band, vote on it and see how we want to do it.
You have a good synergy. It's because you have the same lineup for many years.
Mm. Yeah.
Do you
We've
have
been together for a long time. Yeah.
do you have plans for releasing something in a live format?
In a live performance,
Performance?
not as of yet. Like I think if we did something like that, I think we'd probably want to be doing it like on a tour, so that there's a lot of practice and a lot of live experience back to back, just to be sure that you're tight and on. And then, of course, you have to be in a venue that has the equipment to record it, right? Rather than bringing it all in, because that's also time consuming. And again, because we have day jobs and we don't have that much time to put that level of effort in. But if there was, there are some systems where, like, or some venues where you go to, and they can record at any given time.
It's very complicated. I see many bands releasing live videos to have content on their YouTube channels, but sometimes the band has to pay attention on the quality of this
Yeah.
releasing, not just releasing bad things, just to have something on their YouTube channel.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of bands release live stuff, but I always gravitate towards, I want the studio album, because that is the best quality. That's the best it's going to sound. There have been some bands where I'm blown away about how good they are live, and it does bring something a little more energetic than their recording. It's very rare, but it has happened. But generally speaking, I prefer the studio albums.
Cool, mate. And still talking about the live concerts, do you have plans to tour outside of Canada? Because it looks like you are earning a new fans out of Canada.
Yeah, well, I know I've reached out to you. Like, we'd love to come play in Brazil. We'd like to go to Europe at a time, not currently. It would have been nice to go down to the States, but they make it quite. It's not as easy. Like, they need visas. It's expensive. Lawyers involved, so it can be a bit of a pain. But in the current state of affairs, we're not risking going down to the States. But yeah, we'd love to. It always comes down to just logistics and stuff like that. Like, so one of the things that we probably will look at this year, like, we've always been independent, so that we're always in control of everything. But signing with a record company these days doesn't mean that you're giving up control or anything like that. It just means you're kind of developing this symbiotic relationship where we provide some product that they can promote and make some money off of it, whereas we could benefit from their connections to play some festivals. So that's the big thing that we're going to be looking at this year, to see what are the best avenues to get on festivals. That's one of our goals. We just want to get in front of people, that want to hear our music. But it's not so viable for us to travel to, like, Brazil and just play small clubs, where 10, 20 people show up and there's no money to be made, and it's costing thousands and thousands of dollars to travel there. And then you have to get back line and all that kind of stuff. So festivals usually provide these types of things. So you can fly in, you play, spend a couple of days, and then you go home. And that to me is very appealing.
Especially in Brazil, because we don't have cities so close from each other. For example, where I live, there is just one city near. It's about 2 hours driving by car.
Mhm.
And then the next city is more than 4 or 6 hours.
Mhm.
Everything is very far from each other. It's very complicated. Even from bands from in Brazil, we have one band here. I don't know if you ever heard about them. It's called Claustrophobia. Means like something like claustrophobia. It's a Brazilian thrash metal band, but they are living in United States for, I don't know, for more than 5 or 6 years. They've already played in huge festivals as Rock in Rio. Rock in Rio is like a vacuum, but it's a musical festival in Brazil, broadcasted
Well, I know.
in a
I'm very
huge,
familiar with it. Yeah.
very popular. Even a band like Claustrophobia, they tried to tour in Brazil and it didn't work. Things here are very complicated. Even Sepultura nowadays, Sepultura is huge in Brazil for many decades,
Yeah.
but they don't do like 5 days in a week touring in Brazil. They do it in Europe, in United States, in other
Yeah.
places.
Well, there's a lot
But
more.
I wish someday to win a lottery that I
Mm.
can have money to bring infrared to play in my city
Yeah.
just
Or
for
we
a
win
day
the
at
lottery and
least.
we just paid for it ourselves. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
It will be amazing. And still talking about earning new fans out of your country. I saw a post from Infrared talking about the two Brazilians wearing from the Black Swamp T-shirt in
Yeah.
Canada. It
Yeah.
was amazing.
Well, that's a funny story because so Troy Smith, he's like our road manager. He's always there helping us when we're playing shows or we're doing our mini tours. Um, but he's a teacher and he's an art teacher, and so these are exchange students that came up from Brazil. And I guess he had a sticker of our band on the wall or something like that. And he was playing guitar and he was playing the riff to one of our songs, No Peace. And the
Amazing.
girl said, she goes, is that band? And she's pointing to the sticker. And he goes, you know Infrared? And she's like, yeah. She goes, I listened to them at home. And I think the boy said that he listened as well. So we got them some t-shirts and yeah. So it's like, what are the chances of them coming all the way from Brazil and they know a band from Canada and end up meeting the guy who knows the band? So it was an interesting story.
It's cool. I'm very happy with that. I'm proud of these Brazilian young kids.
Yeah, yeah. Good for
Brazilian young
them.
kids has a good future. I
Yeah,
believe in them.
yeah, for
And
sure.
how is the relationship from Infrared with other bands in Canada? Do you know any new bands in Canada, like thrash metal bands or other styles inside heavy metal?
Yeah, I mean, like we've met lots, like a lot of bands from Montreal, from Kitchener, Waterloo area. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's a little bit more west from Toronto. I think most people know where Toronto is, and yeah, so we make a lot of friends actually when we're playing shows. So we meet these bands and then we make friends and then we try to do show exchanges with them, so or go on little tours with them. So yeah, it works out well.
If I'm not wrong, I reviewed a band from Canada. I recently reviewed a band called Hazard. It's a thrash metal band. If I'm not wrong, they are from Canada. Canada.
Hazard.
Hazard.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
they're from Calgary or Edmonton. I'm not from
Probably it's Calgary.
Calgary. Yeah, I heard of them as well. I've been listening to them on Spotify, and they're very good. Yeah, I'm
I
very.
got very I got very impressed when I discovered that the vocalist is also the drummer. I didn't know about it.
He's a runner.
Oh, the vocalist is
Yeah.
also the drummer.
Oh, he's the drummer. Yeah, no, I didn't know that. I didn't. I
Yeah,
haven't seen. I haven't seen videos of them. I just heard them on Spotify, and yeah, I was very
I
impressed.
didn't know neither.
Yeah.
When I first reviewed their first album back in 2017, I remember that I heard the album, I wrote the review, and okay.
Mm.
And I believe in the second album, I discovered that he also plays drums. I thought, "Oh, it's incredible because he do very interesting parts of drumming,
Yeah.
also sing at the same time. It's very incredible.
Hate, die in hate.
Our last question.
Mhm.
And every time I want to show infrared for a new fan, I used to put the song No Masters, No Gods to Play. It's my favorite song until today. But I'm curious to know how song you want to show for a new fan, for a person who wants to discover infrared music?
Um, which song?
Maybe the song that the best defines the band.
That best defines the band. That's tough because so we have two main songwriters, right? Like myself and Kirk, we play the guitar, and because it's guitar-oriented music, so we write the riffs, and then of course, Mike and Al put their stamp and their flavor and their creativity of the bass lines and the drums into the song, which makes it and help with the arrangements and stuff like that. So to capture the essence of the band, it's tough. Like sometimes I go through and it's like, oh, one of Kirk's songs that he put together is like my favorite song now, and it just perfectly describes the band. So like on this latest album, I think Temple of Sin is it's just bang. It's in your face. We call it a barn burner. To me, it's a quintessential type of thrash song. So I'm just trying to think. It's a good question. It's hard for me to answer. Like my preference is I like the more epic songs, which is I'm typically the one who ends up writing them. From the Black Swamp is like, in that vein is one of my favorites because it's exactly the title track. No Masters, No Gods is on that album too. The reason I like this is because it has the thrash elements, that has the big epic choruses, it has a big epic outro. So you get all the flavors. Another one off the new album, which we all kind of worked on together, is Concuss. So Concuss is, it's more of a mid-tempo. It's not as fast, but it's certainly, and it's got a good energy to it, and it's a good sort of classic, sort of slower paced thrash song. So again, not a great answer. I can't give you one song, but I can tell you that there's a few songs that give you a good flavor of who we are.
Thanks for your time, Armin. Thanks for coming. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah,
Please let your final words from your fans in Canada and out of Canada, in Brazil, all around the world.
Final words is just
not final words, no. The final words for this interview.
Yeah, not my final words. I don't plan on dropping dead after this call.
Like, okay, we are going to die right after turn off the microphones here.
Yeah, just if they get a chance to check out some of our stuff, so they can go to our YouTube channel and see all the videos that we've put together. They can go to Bandcamp, so infraredmetal.bandcamp.com, and they can see everything there. Obviously, we're on Spotify, so we're not hard to find. If you type in infrared metal in Google, you'll find everything on us. And if you go to any of the social media and you type that in, you'll also find us.
I will let all the links on the description of this video for anyone who's watching now can easily find the band.
Perfect. Appreciate that, Victor. Thank you so much.
That's it. I hope you all have enjoyed this interview. If you enjoyed, please like, share this video with a friend, and also subscribe our channel. Don't forget to follow Infrared on all social medias. Check their YouTube channel. There are many good videos there from the last album Manifestation, videos like Concuss and Demon's Blood. And see you on the next interview. Bye bye.